Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Jessica with I Read to Relax, and I'm gonna try doing a reading vlog, like a full-length reading vlog in September for the first time. So it's basically going to be reading along with me for the week. So to start with, I'm going to be reading one of the books off my September TBR, and I used a random name wheel to pick the first book for this week. So I will insert that footage here. And you can see that we're going to be reading How to Outwit a Wizard by Amy Boyles, which is the second book in that series that I can't remember the name of right now, but that's what I'm going to be starting with today. So I will check in with you guys a little bit later after I've read a chunk and let you know how I'm feeling about it. We're gonna read some. Morning. I thought I would do a quick little reading update before I run into work. I am like 36% of the way into How to Outwit a Wizard, and it is a super fun read. Like it's light, it's funny, there's a lot of snarky banter because it's very much a you broke my heart in high school second chance romance. The two main characters have been sort of like sniping at each other for years because he broke her heart, but it turns out that he had a definite reason for it. And it is the second in the series about these 7 sisters that are from a witchy family. And in order to keep their family's magic, they all have to get, married. So it's like magical Bridgerton vibes. But in this particular one, the grandmother comes back from the dead to sort of like help her second granddaughter get hitched, and Devlin and Bee end up accidentally switching powers, and so now madness is going to ensue. She never knew what his power was. He hasn't quite told her why he broke up with her in high school, but it turns out that there was some sort of vision he saw that something was going to go horribly wrong. So he broke it off so that she would remain safe. So I'm waiting to see how that unfolds, but it's just a really light, fun read and perfect. Exactly what I was in the mood for now. So I'm super excited so far, and I can't wait to dive back in after work today. Yay! I thought it was time for another reading update. I read a big chunk of How to Outwit a Wizard last night. I'm at the 80% mark now, and I only stopped because I was starting to have my eyelids close. I was extremely tired, and I was like, I'm not going to remember the last 20% of this book if I push through, so we'll finish that tonight. Still an extremely fun romp of a book. I really love the sort of levity in this series. It's funny, there's a lot of banter. I really like the actual plot line of this one. It's that second chance romance. There's the like visions of death and trying to save someone else. So denying yourself so that they'll be all right. There's like a subplot with the two potential male love interests having a rivalry. And of course the family. I love the family in this story, but the one thing I'm not loving about this one, and it's just because it's sort of over the top, is the like lust. The main female character, B, had this relationship with Devin in high school. They were in love, they were dating, and like, that's playing into it, and I get that. Like, you would remember how much you loved them. You would know that you'd already, like, had these electrifying kisses, and, like, that when you touched each other, like, you could feel the electricity, the tension, like, that spark. But it's also, like, super lusty. She just every 5 seconds is, oh my God, if he took his shirt off, I would, drop my panties to the floor. Like, it's just so hypersexualized. And I honestly can't remember if book 1 was like that, but I don't think it was that strong a theme, because I don't know that I would have continued the series. I'm going to be really curious. Like, I'm going to read book 3 because, like I said, I like the overall series. I love the premise. I love the tone, but I am curious to see what the romance is going to feel like in book 3. If it turns out to be this sort of over the top, I can't think about anything but sex, may not read past book 3. It's just, I want more of the emotional part. It's very, very lusty versus love in this one. And like I said, the themes of the love are there, but they're so overshadowed by the just absolute, all I want to do is rip my clothes off, rip his clothes off, like every 5 seconds. And it's just so much. It's so much. So, like, if I were giving this one a rating, and I'm not at the end yet, so, like, still, figuring it out, but it's definitely not a 5-star, because I'm catching myself skimming a little bit, because I'm like, I can't read one more description of how much she wants to rip her own clothes off right now. So that's where I'm at. But like I said, overall, it's a lot of fun. It's funny. I like funny romance, so that's good. But yeah, we'll see how the last 20% goes. All right, my friends, we're at the 80% mark, and we're gonna see if we can finish up How to Outwit a Wizard tonight. So, all right. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, you gonna read with Mama? I just finished How to Outwit a Wizard by Amy Boyles, and I do have to say the last 20% was better than the middle section. I feel like the beginning of this book and the end of this book were great. I really enjoyed them. And the middle section, I really liked the plot. I just didn't love sort of the over-the-top lustiness between the two characters. So, overall, like, it really made me laugh. I had a lot of fun reading it. Like I said, I did skim some parts in the middle, so it's kind of like a middle read for me. not amazing. I didn't hate it. It was good. I am definitely interested in reading the third one to see sort of what the tone is. So I'll end up picking up, I think it's How to Negotiate with a Nightmare, or it's something, I can't remember the title of book 3 offhand, but yeah. So that's the end of this book. And now I'm off to go pick another book. All right, bye. Hello, my friends. So I'm here with another update for my reading vlog this week. If you watched my September TBR video, you know that I started a new Read It or Unhaul It list. And this was the first book that I pulled from that list for the month of September. It is Lightbringer by Claire Legrand. It is book 3 in the Imperium trilogy. And it's also the biggest one that I had on the list, unsurprisingly. So sadly, I made the decision that I am not going to read this and I'm just going to straight up unhaul it. I did think about it, and I also went back and checked when I had read books 1 and 2, and I read book 2 in 2019, which is why it feels like I literally cannot remember anything other than there's 2 female main characters and they're in different timelines. That's the sum total of what I could remember. I really loved book 1 and I enjoyed book 2 a lot. And then I just never, ever read book 3. So I went online, found a completely spoiler-filled summary of book 2 to try and refresh my memory, and realized that the sad reality would be that I would have to go back and essentially reread books 1 and 2 in order to be able to read book 3 and remember what happened and move forward with the series. And I just do not have it in me. I've got too many unread books, too many things I'm more interested in right now than to go back and reread 2 500 plus page books in order to read another one. Sadly, we're just gonna unhaul it. I mean, I feel like it's still a victory because I finally made the decision to just stop keeping this on my shelf. But it is kind of sad that the first Read It or Unhaul It is an unhaul. So that's my update, and I will end up picking another book to read this week. I will end up spinning my little TBR wheel, and I will get back to you guys and let you know what it is that I picked instead. So as promised last night, I spun the wheel for a new read, and I will insert the footage here, so we'll leave some time for you to see what I got. And the winner was A Language of Dragons by is it Williamson? Yeah, so anyway, the cover's up here, but I started A Language of Dragons last night, and it was so good, so good. I'm only 2 chapters in, but I love the writing and the concept so far. It is a land where there are dragons and people coexisting, and there's a peace accord, basically so the dragons don't eat people. But it's also a society where there's different levels of the society. So if you're in the first level, you have all the privileges. If you're in the second level, you're existing well and safely. And then if you're level 3, you are basically destitute and you do not have privileges. And her best friend, who she studied with for years and years and years, they have to take this exam when they turn 16, and her friend failed the exam and got demoted to level 3 and has now disappeared. This woman who is a dragon translator comes over to their house, and she thinks she's gonna have a chance to like win sort of like a apprenticeship with the woman, and it turns out instead that the woman is there to find evidence that her parents are part of this rebellion. And she does, and the parents get arrested, and they're gonna basically be taken away and put to death. And I am utterly hooked after 2 chapters. I'm so excited to get back to this later today. Hello, my friends. I just finished A Language of Dragons and took my Sunday night face mask off. This was so good. I loved it. It is fast. It is interesting. It really loved it. And now I'm really, really excited for book 2. I don't think book 2 is coming out until 2026. But I'll be pre-ordering it because it was so good. I had no idea this was sort of like a reimagining of like the real world events. Like if you watch the movie The Imitation Game, where they talk about the code breaking that was done at Bletchley Park, this is that, but like with dragons. Such a fun concept. This was a 5-star read for me. Like I said, really, really interested in reading book 2. It really hits home like war and all of its effects and like prejudice and like societal structure and then like interspecies relationships. Like it's got such good themes, and I loved the writing style. So yeah, what a banger of a way to end a week. Overall, we had the first book of the week, which was How to Outwit a Wizard, and that one I was conflicted about. So like overall I enjoyed it, but it definitely did not, like, it had a drawback, and I talked about that in earlier clips, so that was okay. And then we decided just not to read the last book in the Imperium trilogy by Claire Legrand because Lightbringer was humongous and I just decided to unhaul it. So disappointing, but realistic. And then A Language of Dragons. So this was great. Like I said, great way to end the week, go into a new one like on a high note. This was my first reading vlog. So like full-length reading vlog for a whole week. I hope it was entertaining for you guys. I'd like to do these maybe once a month, just so that I can share like what I'm reading, and I'll get better at sharing my reactions and everything. But like a 3.75 star read, no star read, like a DNF that didn't even start, and a 5-star read. So we were up, we were down, we were way up, but overall, not bad. And that's a week in my reading life.